Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. So, Abby, at this point, I think you know who exactly I'm talking about, is looking at the portrait. Now, I know that Days is known for its kookiness, its silliness to some extent, and I even get looking at a portrait and saying maybe a couple of words. This chick went into a full blown, damn near conversation. Now, the only thing, as silly as it was, we did learn a little bit about her character. Is that she says that she's doing this, she feels bad about doing this. And this is something that we've seen, just the level of guilt in her face, her tone and everything. But she says that she feels guilty about it. And she says that she's doing this because she has to. And she also says something about family or whatever. So we're getting little droplets of like, maybe this isn't about revenge. We don't know what it can be, but she's knowing that she's doing this because she has to, not necessarily because she wants to. Now Steve comes in, and Steve catches her talking to the painting. Um, there's a part in there where Steve confronts her about her lie, that she said that she was having a treatment plan for Kayla, and they start talking, and she says something. And he's like, that'd be nice if it was true. But that's a lie, though. And she's like, what are you talking about? He's like, you never talked to my wife about a treatment plan. And she used the whole, well, I was kind of confused and, I don't really know who I am. And, maybe I was talking about somebody else. And just tries to use the whole amnesia thing as some sort of way of getting out of this lie. But it's so bad that he just goes along with it, and he's like, listen, I get it. There was one point where I thought that I was Stephanie, but it turned out that I wasn't. I don't know if that was some sort of nod to her. It's like, yeah, you may sit there and think that you're Abby, but you're not. Now, she says that, she had her doubts about being this Abby person, but the DNA test confirmed it. He was like, okay. Now, he's been around sailing for a while. He knows how DNA tests can sit there and come up one way, and it could be, tamper with or whatever, and it may not be the case. So at the end of their conversation, he leaves, and she really felt like she messed up. She was like, Steve is going to be a problem. Now, Chad, he comes to this memorial, this funeral, whatever, and he apologizes because, he missed it. I was like, you didn't really miss anything. I mean, oh. Like I said this yesterday, and I'll sit there and say it again. They didn't bother to put any really thought into this character, Everett or Bobby. Why should I bother to care? But Stephanie talks about something strange that happened. Well, first she's like, when I came in there, she was on the phone talking about some sort of plans to some sort of next steps. And when I confronted her, she was like, oh, I was talking about, Aunt Kayla, Johnson Kayla, whatever, and what kind of treatment plan that she has for me going forward, so way she can get her life back and maybe get her memories back and everything like that. But she was like, when I talked to Kayla, she had no idea what I was talking about. Now it's the same thing with Steve. Steve, that's what it was. Steve was like, I think this one, Fabi was like, yeah, I have this treatment plan going on with Kayla and stuff like that, and I can get back to, hopefully remembering. And that's when he was like, yeah, but the problem is that's not true. So Stephanie pretty much kind of told the same story that Steve told, but Chad was like, well, maybe she got the name wrong. Is there any other Johnsons and stuff? At this point, Chad is getting defensive and he's making excuses. But the problem with that is, I understood that he was a little defensive towards Kristen. Kristen doesn't really have any investment except for towards her own brother. But him getting defensive towards Stephanie just seems asinine because Stephanie wants her cousin back just as much as you want back your wife. So what reason would she have to have any sort of doubts or anything like that? But she's doubting this whole thing. She's like, yeah, there's possible that somebody else is named Johnson, but it's not likely. But you ever had a conversation with someone and things get kind of tense and they get a little kind of awkward, so you kind of just go along with what they're saying because you can tell that they're you know what I'm saying, they're getting somewhat hostile. And you just kind of go with it. And so after a while, she was like, yeah, it's possible. She doesn't really have her memory back. She could have just got confused and everything, and um, whatever. But she knows there's something off, and Chad knows there's something off. I mean, granted, they haven't shown us these scenes, but like, how often since you moved out of Damaris' place have you had any time to really sit there and spend time with her? Has she called you? Have you? He hasn't sit there and said, "Well, I saw her this time. I saw her that time. We went out to lunch or anything like that." She's been avoiding you like the damn plague. So you know that there's something off. You don't want to believe it, and I get that. But I'm like, if she has doubts, and that's her own damn cousin, you know that there's something off. But he's so desperate to sit there and keep her. This is the issue. Okay, so they do this thing. I'm talking about the Jada scene. They do this thing we're already doing most TV shows. Jada comes in. Belinda has the thing around her mouth. Now I've seen Melinda yell and scream even when she had or make a little bit more noise, even when she had that thing around her mouth. But Jada comes in, when knocks on the door, realizes it's open, start to walk in, like, oh man, it's gonna get so close. She's gonna sit there and find. Nope, she doesn't. So I knew right from jump, the minute that she walked in that room, I was like, yeah, she's gonna get a call, she's gonna get distracted. She's not gonna hear her or anything like that. And that's exactly what it was. It was one of those things where it's like, why even sit there? Why even try to do this tease for her? Because I wasn't amused by it whatsoever. Um, anyway, she gets a call from Paulina that Rafe is awake. Now Connie is with Gabby, and she's getting all mad and everything like that, and she has a knife ready to sit there and kill her. And I'm kind of just like, I'm gonna try not to complain too much about her because I feel like that's all I ever do when it comes towards Connie, and I wish I didn't have to, but I also wish that we had a better villain. So here we are. Um, anyway, Gabby just pretty much just recites what she said in the last episode. That she's going to continue her affair with EJ because she's having fun, and she's going to take all of Stephanie's money because, you know, she's kind of a POS. Let's just be real for a hot minute. I understand hurt and I understand anger, but she's doing a little bit too much, and she's taking it a little bit too far. Now she does sit there and ask Gabby to try to find Melinda, and Kanye's like, well, she quit. She tries to get into a position to where she can stab her. But before she does that, Gabby gets the call that her brother's awake. So they both get down there. Now, Connie comes back home and, she talks to Melinda and she's like, I'm perturbed. And I'm like, perturbed? Perturbed? Really? Out of all words to sit there and use, you use the word perturbed. Well, you know what, sweetheart? I've been perturbed with you since day one that we just been stuck with your ass. She could have used any other word in a goddamn dictionary, and she used the word perturbed. She's mad, like how most people sit there and talk, because she ain't happy that her plan isn't working out the way that she wanted it to. She wanted Gabby to blow up her life, to be remorseful, or to be mad that she took it a step too far and she made a mistake, and now she's angry about the decision that she made. Or she's angry about the decision that Connie suggested. But instead, she's sitting there saying that she's quote unquote living her best life. That bothers her. But she shouldn't be living her best life. She should be angry. She should be miserable because of, what she did to Lee. Listen, I'm not gonna sit there and try to act like what she did to Lee was right, because it was pretty messed up. Lee was a scumbag for the stuff that he did as well. So I'm not gonna sit there and try to give Lee a pass. But like, what she did trying to make him seem like, oh, I needed your help and stuff like that, broke this man down to the point where he needed therapy. That was just some foul shit. We're gonna be honest. But I don't know. I guess she's gonna sit there and try to kill Gabby or something. Maybe if mm, I'm trying to be positive. I'm really, really, really trying to be positive, but she ain't helping. Um, let's see what else happens. Blah blah blah. The look on Steve's face, just going back to Fabi, is that he was looking at her like there's something not right. And if you saw the previews, he does sit there and say that's not Abby. That's not Abby. Yeah, the painting and stuff like that was off. When he called her in that lie, as far as, because here's the thing, she literally sat there and brung up, well, I know Kayla, she's helped me with the treatment plan and stuff. He didn't ask her about that. She just volunteered that information. So you literally sat there and told him that story that he didn't ask for, because you already seemed like you were scrambling, you were jumpy, you were nervous just being around him. And then you bring up a treatment plan that he sat there and looked. And I was normally and stuff like that, I would sit there and think that he would be like, oh, okay, yeah, that treatment plan. Okay, yeah, that's good. And then going back and telling his wife or whatever. But he actually called her out on the spot. She had to scramble. And her scrambling was bad. Her scrambling made her even seem worse, which is why she was like, yeah, he's going to be a problem. I still want to know, what is her plan? What is her end game? Why is she doing this? Yeah, we know that she's not doing this because she wants to, because she has to. But what is it that she's doing? Is she being blackmailed um by Clyde? Is she being blackmailed by Clyde? Did Clyde have somebody of hers, maybe her own child or something like that? Blackmailing both of them, because I mean, you gotta sit there and think it's not just her; it's her and Mark that are in on this. They keep having these secret meetings and stuff like that. Mark doesn't seem like a bad person, so maybe they're doing it under duress. Oh, Rafe doesn't remember who actually stabbed him in the back. I just want to point that out in case I forgot that. Um, but he's told that it was Bobby that did it, but Bobby's dead. He does have this flashback. He remembered, because you know how Connie loves to sit there and monologue like a damn DC villain. So he heard that, but he heard somebody saying something. I'm surprised he didn't say it. Now, I think that's going to end up happening is that he's going to have to run into her and remember her voice. He's going to have to run into her and just somehow remember her voice. Because honestly, to tell you the truth, Connie's the type of person that you wouldn't notice, or when you're at work, she's always that one annoying ass loser. She's always that one annoying ass woman that you're just like, yeah, I can see why you don't have a man. I can totally see that. I can see that. Anyway, I feel like that's about it. I can't think of anything else, but come to the live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll talk about all the shows, General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, Bold and Beautiful, and Young and Restless. With that being said, I'm going to go. I'll see you in the next video.